Now, it's on days like this when I kind of wish I had a selfie stick, because it's much easier to use than walking with a mobile telephone. And I do apologise about the picture quality, but I'm using my phone for this because where I'm going, you're not allowed to take cameras. And where is that, you may ask? Well, it's pretty obvious. It's the Theatre Royal here in Plymouth, in the city that I live in. Now, I thought it might be fun to do a video review of this, bearing in mind it is the first ever performance of the Quadrophenia Ballet anywhere in the world, and they're doing it here in Plymouth. Now, of course, 16 years ago, they did the Quadrophenia musical, also debuted at this very theatre. So it's quite interesting to see that they've come back here to do effectively the same piece, but in a totally different way. Now I'm going to cross over the road, hopefully I won't get run over. And it's quite funny because this road here is called Royal Parade, and this is where I ride my bicycle every day. Anyway, I'm going to cross the road and I'll rejoin you. Now, as I walk down the road, you can see this building here. This is what's known as the old Civic Centre, and it's been empty for years, but it's a shame because it's a very interesting building of brutalist architecture. Most people in Plymouth hate it, but I quite like it myself. Anyway, I'm now walking down Royal Parade and hoping no one can see what I'm doing because I probably look like a complete idiot to them. But it's quite a nice evening actually, a little bit breezy. And if I turn the camera around, we are now approaching the Theatre Royal, and as you can possibly see, there's a very big statue. Now, this statue was put here about 3 or 4 years ago, and it caused a little bit of controversy at the time, but I rather like it myself. Well, if the intro goes to plan that I filmed on my phone, then you know what I've been doing. If the intro doesn't go to plan, then thank you for joining my channel. My name's Matthew North, this is Matthew North Music. And as ever, if you like the sort of content I make, be it about music, retro tech or whatever, please like, subscribe, share and all that good stuff. Now, tonight, what a night. I don't know what I was expecting from this production originally. I bought the ticket ages ago. I can't remember when I bought it. It was sometime last year that they announced it. And I hadn't been to the classical Quadrophenia concert. I think that took place maybe 2015, 2016, around that time. And I know that was the time that I was very busy with Mike Westbrook because we were doing the Bigger Show album and tour. And we were making the album with John Heisman and stuff. So I didn't go to as many concerts in that period of time as I normally would have done. But this ballet is it's based on that score. It's based on the work that Rachel Fuller did in collaboration with Pete on that. And I did go to the sort of premiere. They did like a premiere of 2 pieces in London in the South Bank in about 2012-ish. With Robert Ziegler and Pete and Jeff Beck played together on Love Reign Over Me. And that was a beautiful piece of music, and it was the same arrangement that was in this production. But yeah, so I got down there, and there were a few mods on their motorcycles outside. And yeah, it was... I went in, and it was quite dark in there actually, and I did take this one sneaky photo. Photography obviously is completely banned in theatres for a good reason, really, because you know it's like comedians and other things. You don't want to give away what's going on. If it's a concert, it's a bit different. But I made some notes about the production. I'm not going to go too detailed into it because I don't want to give away too many spoilers. Although there are spoilers. And yeah, it starts with like a big screen. They've got a big projection in it, and the projections are very good, as are the sets. The sets they use are very well done, and it's very slick how they bring all the sets and things in and out. But it starts on the rock, and Jimmy's there with a couple of his mod mates, and there's a dance scene on there. Now, I was wondering, was there going to be an orchestra there or not? And no, there wasn't. The music was all pre-recorded, but I don't think that makes much difference to the production, to be honest, because you know the sound is pretty impressive. Even where I was sat right at the back, and I was to the side, so the speakers weren't quite facing where I was, so I didn't get the best sound, but. You know, you could hear everything pretty well, and it was actually quite loud. I actually did have to have my earplugs in, because it was pretty loud. Now, there's in these sort of opening couple of bits, there's a really nice bit where there's 4 doors with different designs of the sort of mod bullseye on, and that's obviously to indicate the 4 sides of Quadrophenia and the 4 band members, etc. And it was just a really nice touch that they did that, and it got me thinking. Even after the first 2 or 3 pieces, it felt more like akin to the album than it did to either the film or the musical. Now, the musical was done in 2009, and that was actually premiered at the same theatre, the Theatre Royal in Plymouth, and the musical was much more like the film in that it had far more of the whole sort of mods and rockers things going on, and it was okay, but this was different. This was darker. It was a very dark production, and you know, and it was really moving, and there was you know, when they did the real me, and there's, you know, I went to the doctor, and there's like a doctor's table there, and Jimmy's there talking to the doctor and things. But yeah, there's a nice little touch that during the cut my hair sequence where Jimmy's family are together, and you know, they're in their living room watching TV, and they've actually got Steptoe and Son on the television. But there was 2 pieces of actual Who music in there, and when I was listening to it, I was thinking, well, is this actually the Who, or is it someone sounding very like it, or have they done kind of AI and they've taken off the vocals and added a guitar line? I mean, one of them was My Generation, and the other was I Can't Explain, and it kind of sounded like. The My Generation one either there was an instrumental version that they used, and actually by reading the program, and actually talking about the program now, concert programs are normally very expensive. I mean, when I went to see Paul McCartney just before Christmas, it was like 25 quid. The program for this, 6 quid, and actually there's quite a lot in it, and so that's actually pretty good value for money. So you know, if you are going to the production, you know, pick up one of these for 6 quid, well worth it. Yeah, anyway, so yeah, so there's a couple of really nice dance scenes in there where they're actually dancing to Who music. And as I said, I'm not going to go on about any more sort of the finer details of it, but at the end of the first half, now there was a little technical fault they had tonight. Not quite sure what it was. But it did halt the production for a few minutes. But I'm not going to go too much into that. I mean, it didn't really affect the enjoyment of the show at all, really, because the actual point of which there was the technical problem was kind of on a bridge between one song to another, so you didn't really lose any flow. But then they did the end of the first segment, and oh my word. And right at the end, there was a beautiful jazzy interpretation of Love Reign Over Me, with a gorgeous trumpet and guitar interplay. Now, it sounded to me like it was Pete that actually played that guitar, because it sounds just like his active Strat. Whether he did it or not, I don't know, but that was definitely the high point of the first half for me. So after that little problem they had, I'm very much looking forward to part 2. Well, it's actually referred to in the programme as blues, but it feels more jazz. Of Love Reign Over Me, with this gorgeous trumpet and guitar interplay, and Pete's playing the guitar. That is just gorgeous, and it was really moving. And yeah, it's probably my high point of the whole production, to be honest, was that ending. And yeah, then we got into the interval, and I ended up getting interviewed by one of the producers because they're obviously making material for social media and promotional stuff. So you might see me on some of the advertising media. Hope so, because quite enjoy doing that. And then we get into the second half. Now, the second half seemed to whiz by very, very quickly. You sort of blink and you miss it because there's so much going on. There's some great dance scenes in it. They do the sort of there's a scene where the mods and rockers have their fight, and that was done very, very well. Some beautiful choreography in that, absolutely stunning. And how the second half felt to me, and it kind of, looking back on it, the first half was similar. Now, this is my copy of Quadrophenia. Now, I've had this album since probably about 1985, 1986, something like that. It was bought second-hand from Caterpillar Records in Exeter. And the great thing with this album, of course, is the book that comes inside. And, my booklet fell out, so it'd be easy to show you. But it basically depicts the story. And the thing with this is, there's him with his the character Jimmy with his family, and then we'll whiz it through. There he is in the cafe. Then there's him at work, the dirty job. All right, he's a bin man here, and he's a factory worker in the ballet. But the whole thing about this is, and he's outside Hammersmith Odeon there seeing The Who. In this, they were actually at the Marquee seeing The Who, and there's a scene there where Jimmy's not getting his album signed by Roger, or assume it's Roger. And then there's the train. Now, the actual set for the train is really good. But the point I'm making is this. This production is like taking the booklet from this album and putting it on stage as a ballet. That's how it felt to me, and that's what was so great about it. It was much closer to this to me than the Quadrophenia film ever was, or the musical. I think the musical was probably the furthest away from how this felt to me. And the film, obviously, it was a film, and this album, this is a great album, and after seeing it tonight, I have a lot more love for this album now than I probably have, because I fell a little bit out of love with Quadrophenia, and it was simply because I think as a teenager I just listened to it so much. I probably over-listened to it, and sometimes if you listen to something too much, you kind of go off it a bit. Whereas I've never had that with Tommy. Tommy's always been that record that's always been there. But in summing up this production, it's fantastic. Now, I don't know if it's sold out completely around the country yet or not, but if you get a chance to go and see it, you really should. I'm really tempted to maybe try and get to see it again this week. I've got a busy week, but I'm going to try and get to see it. But then, right at the end, this happened. Well, just outside the Theatre Royal, and I just got to speak to Pete. He was there, and I only said a couple of words to him. I just said, thank you. He's been emotional. And that was it, really, because that's all I could say. And he acknowledged me and said thank you back. So, if that's the only other time I'll ever get to meet Pete, then I can say, hand on heart, both times that I've met Pete Townshend, he's been a complete gent. And that's great. And that was it. That's how the evening ended. And it was wonderful. So brilliant production, amazing dancing, the lighting superb, the projections were superb. I mean, there was loads more about the projections I could go into. Like there was one bit on 5:15, out my brain, and then there's like these pills flying in the air, and there's all these. Oh, it's just fantastic. So absolutely brilliant production, 10 out of 10. And I hope to see it again, and I hope you get to see it as well. But from now, I'm going to bed. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.